everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. I am Dr. Ashwati. Students, in this lecture, I am going to introduce you people to a very important theory from the Indian political thought, and this is related to Agannasutta. Agannasutta is part of a Buddhist philosophy. As you must have seen in the UGC-NET syllabus, you have, like, from the ancient India, you have to deal with three ideas or thinkers, we can say: Dharma Shastras, Kautilya and Agannasutta. So Agannasutta is part of the Buddhist political philosophy. The earliest philosophies in the Dharma Shastras also, you get to know about an organic theory of the state, and you get to know about the divine origins of the monarch or the king, and it is a kind of a theory which is like how the state came about in an organic way. But in the Agannasutta, when we look at it, because it has the basic tenets derived from that of Buddhism, and it also has brought forward the social contract tradition as well. And if you people are interested to read more about Agannasutta, there are two references I would suggest. First, you can read the work by Laksari Jayasurya on the Buddhism, Statecraft and Politics. That one article of Laksari Jayasurya is out there on internet. You can just check out and you can download it and read it, and it is a very interesting article. Secondly, you can just type Agannasutta on Google, and there also you will get a material by the IGNOU also on Agannasutta. So let's understand that what is Agannasutta. It actually provides us with a social contract tradition. In your Western philosophy, which came quite late, let's say that we have Thomas Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, and later on John Rawls, they presented with us a social contract tradition, right? But Buddhist philosophy of Agannasutta also has a similar, let's say that Agannasutta, which is actually much earlier one, belongs to the ancient period. So that is also, it is a representation of an ideal polity through a social contract tradition. Now here, it is part of the Digha Nikaya. Digha Nikaya is a collection of long discourses. 34 such long discourses are there, and Agannasutta is the 27th dialogue or discourse. Okay, it is the 27th sutta of the Digha Nikaya. When you go for, like, you can just type on Google, like simply you can just type Digha Nikaya and you will get the whole list of the 34 suttas are there. And Agannasutta is the 27th sutta of the Digha Nikaya. Digha Nikaya is a collection of long discourses or narratives. And by reading the Agannasutta, you get to know about the Buddhist thinking on the origin and development of the state, that how the state has developed, what are its basic tenets, and everything is part and parcel of it. So, it has brought to us a social contract tradition. So, social contract tradition, they have the great, a kind of a theory of great elect, or the theory of Maha Samat, the king or the monarch. So how do you understand the Maha Samat? For that, you have to first understand that how the state came about. If you remember that under Thomas Hobbes, we have discussed about the state of nature, right? So under the state of nature, how he has described the state of nature as a people living in a very anarchical situation, brutally, nasty, short, and he has described a pessimistic image of the state of nature. Lockean state of nature is better. We can say that, okay, people were okay, they were in a better condition, but still they needed a leader. For what? They needed a kind of a government for the implementation of laws, as well as for the protection of your life, liberty and property. For Rousseau, he created a very optimistic image of the state of nature. But here under Agannasutta, he starts with, or we can say that the Buddha, how he narrates the description of the earliest state, or let's say that how the earliest being was. So first starts with the primeval condition. So primeval condition was the place where there was a bliss, there was no distinction on the basis of gender, and it was like a being made of mind and feeding on rapture, bliss, enthusiasm, carried away in spirit, self-luminous, and it was everything was good, like a kind of a area, no distinction of sex or anything was there, and it was like beings are reckoned as beings only. This was a kind of a place of emancipation. It was a state of soul and spirit. Somewhere it was a better. Then comes the introduction of element of water. After some time, it is said that the earth with its savor was spread out in waters. So what happened? Some beings of greedy disposition tasted it, and then craving entered into them. So this is the sphere where the craving or the greediness entered into them. Then after, there was the emergence or appearance of soil and rice. So by the appearance of soil and rice, now you are producing things, and now people had a kind of a growth of pride, and it was a kind of a time of material possessions, like people became more and more, let's say that this was a condition where you have things in abundance. But yes, now this was like a kind of, after, like due to the appearance of evil and immoral customs, especially the pride in their beauty, variety and conceit, the savory earth disappeared. After its disappearance, outgrowths of the soil appeared. It was clothed with color, order and taste, and the beings feasted on the outgrowths for a long. Then after, you have a kind of then rice appeared, and also the sex differences, and this was also the emergence of the private property. A private property aa gaya, तो obviously like we have a kind of a thinking that okay, I have to secure my land, I have to protect my land, this is my possession. In the primeval condition, people were in bliss, but now people are in kind of a situation where there is like, I have to protect my land. Now the emergence of private property also brought forth the ideas of greed. And then after, stealing appeared, and then greed appeared, emerged stealing, censure, lying, punishment for crime, and defense of rules and many various other things. Then we have the emergence of conflicts due to these evils. Now there are certain people who are there for the stealing of things. Now let's say that if you have 100 people in place, and then 10 would be having a kind of a criminal mentality, it would be there to attack the weaker people, and it can cause a chaotic situation also. You have to protect your cattle, you have to protect your property, your family, and your valuable possessions as well. So this is the place where people realize that we need a government. Earlier everything was blissful, everything was having, like people had access to the things, but when the greed became part and parcel, it became really important that you need a strong government, you need someone to protect you. And this led to the idea of the great elect or the Maha Samat. Here, the Digha Nikaya has projected that when greed, selfishness and theft appeared, in order to maintain the social order, people assembled. Now here you can see that this is something very similar to that of Leviathan, where they say that they submitted their natural rights to one person or to an assembly of men. There is something similar, that people assembled and agreed to choose a chief. Chief here, it can be the Maha Samat, to maintain the social order and judiciously inflict the punishment. Those who are wrongdoers, they should be punished, and these ideas were emerged during this time. In return, they committed to share or to spare a part of their paddy, because in those days paddy or the rice was one of the most valuable element. So people actually decided that okay, we are ready to give a share of our paddy to this person. In return for what? That person would be there to administer justice in the in that society, and there would be a structure of governance. And the institution of kingship, where the king was chosen by the whole people. It is not a representation of God or divine origin, but it spoke about chosen by the people. So this is the idea that where the people actually choose the king. It is not something a divinely ordained king or anything. So this is what you call it as the social contract tradition of Agannasutta, which is part of the Buddhist political philosophy. So students, that's all in this lecture. Stay tuned for more lectures. Bye.